Thinking Aloud. Conversations on the leading edge of knowledge and discovery with psychologist Jeffrey Mishlove.
At some point, he even went so far as to see if he could influence large-scale political events telepathically.
Exactly. In these diaries themselves, so this is happening. The diaries are going through the period of the First World War, as you may see, because 1912 to 1920.
Yes.
And he has records there of things that he's trying to receive. Something is happening in Turkey, or something is happening somewhere else in the theater of war, and he makes a record, and then next day he checks against the newspaper to see whether that really has happened or not. And it's not always, he's very meticulous. It's not always that he succeeds. When he fails, he notes the fact that he failed. And the other activity is trying to influence things and then predicting that this is probably going to happen, and then noting whether that really happened or not.
Well, I think this is very interesting because as an individual evolves spiritually, it's normal, I think, for people to encounter healing abilities. People who are spiritually evolved have a natural healing capacity, I think, and once you begin to recognize that, it's natural to think, can I apply that healing to the whole planet? Because humanity has been, since ancient times, prone to warfare, prone to social problems that cause a great deal of suffering. And a spiritually inclined person who might imagine that they have some healing abilities would want to apply that to the planet. Otherwise, one might think of oneself as having failed in one's potential.
Yes, it's quite true. In fact, after his first experience of the unreality, one of the comments he made is a spiritual liberation that left the world as it was felt by me to be distasteful. In other words, it couldn't satisfy him. The experience of the world as a world of shadows where he couldn't do anything about it. So, the other experiences that he had supplemented that first experience and gave him a sense of the reality of the world. Of course, as an appearance, but nevertheless with a meaning to it that he felt he was justified in wanting to transform it and make it better.
And the paradox here, as I understand it, is that in Vedanta philosophy, it is believed that the ultimate nature of the universe is bliss, pure bliss. That everything is already perfect, as awful as it might seem at times. It's really perfect. So how do you reconcile that? How did Aurobindo reconcile that with his desire to influence things politically?
So you're absolutely right. So, the three kinds of experiences that he had before he went to Pondicherry, each one of these experiences is one particular interpretation of Vedanta. So the first one, which sees the world as unreality, that is the interpretation of Advaita Vedanta. There is another view called Vishishtadvaita, or qualified non-dualism, that sees everything as the energy manifestation of Brahman. And it says you cannot know Brahman outside its manifestation. Everything is already Brahman that's manifesting. And because there is the veil of Maya, we don't see that it is blissful. We laugh and cry and we have sorrows and all that. But ultimately, behind it, the divine is always in bliss. These are all forms of the divine's enjoyment. And then the third kind of interpretation of Vedanta is the Vaishnavite, Vishnu followers. And they feel that Brahman is a person, it's Krishna. and Krishna is present in all things, which is the third major experience he had. So he was to reconcile this condition by saying that these are all valid descriptions of reality.
Simultaneously all valid.
Simultaneously all valid, but we